Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with a look at this Rangemaster gear bag from Helikon-Tex. It's been a while since I've been able to cover products from Helikon-Tex. However, to the people at Helikon, thank you so much for providing this for review. They reached out to me and they said, hey, it's been a while. Let's get some stuff out. Let's get it on camera. Let's take a look. And they decided the Rangemaster bag would be a great option, and I completely agree. Now, when I go to the range, a lot of times my kit does change, so my given range needs definitely do vary. However, there are a baseline number of things that I absolutely need, and I'm going to build those into this bag with you here today. I'm going to start to build this out, which will allow me to show you the different features within this. Now, first off, the range line. So the Rangemaster bag falling in the range line. If you've been following Helikon-Tex, you might realize that they have a number of different lines, from their bushcraft and urban lines and all the outdoor gear, but then it gets into kind of more of the firearms, and in this particular case, it's the Rangemaster bag. So again, seen here in Cordura, the Multicam, absolutely amazing. The only thing, in my opinion, that would make this better than what it is, if it was Multicam black, because the black Multicam is my jam. I love that pattern. But second to that, the standard Multicam, so nice. The Cordura fabric, excellent in terms of abrasion resistance. But even furthermore, the fact that everything on a bag like this, nicely reinforced, beautifully stitched, and Helikon products, I wear them literally all the time. Most of the outerwear that I have, a huge volume of the outerwear that I have, Helikon-Tex. So with that, let's get into this bag. Now, as we get things started, you're looking at around 24 inches by 12 inches by 11 inches. This is not a small bag. In fact, it's around 41 liters of capacity. As I take the zippers and bring these around to the front, beautiful YKK zippers all the way around. They are always just robust and rugged, self-healing, very nice. In some cases, they use inverted zippers if you need a little more protection for the teeth. And you can see right away, this is huge. Some companies miss this fact, but right here on the front, these are lockable zippers. That, in my opinion, is critical for something that has to manage firearms, ammo, things that just, in many cases, most cases, by law, need to be locked up. And that is something that many companies miss. So I'm glad to see the lockable zippers. Now, right away inside, you can see that the entire interior is Velcro lined, and it has also dividers that allow you to subdivide the space in a few different ways. So this is very flexible and very versatile in terms of a setup. Now you can see that even the interior lining can be removed. Now, I wouldn't suggest that you do that. Inside you have all of your reinforcement, and that's what makes this bag nice and stiff and rigid. Inside these panels, there are some nice, hard, sturdy, kind of plastic or polypropylene sheets that hold everything good and firm. That's something that I absolutely love about this, because the bag will hold its shape, which allows you to present the gear in here wonderfully. These dividers, very simple. Again, they do come off fairly easy. But as you take a look, it's actually clever where these have little slip pockets. That's awesome. You can put little things in here like notebooks. I will probably actually put my range book in here, maybe small targets, pens, pencils, things like that, different gear that you may need while you're out there. Anything nice and slim will fit in there, simple. But on this side, you also have additional Velcro backing. So if you wanted to configure the bag a couple of different ways, you can see that these dividers can be used to your advantage in a couple of different orientations. So as I go through my gear and figure out what I want in here, that will come into play. And as I open the bag, across the top of the lid, you'll notice some fantastic compartments. Now, these are great. In fact, these might even be large enough to hold your hearing protection. I am not sure, but I'm going to see if my muffs will fit in here. If they do, that is just wonderful. That's a great place for these. And even on this, you can see the ability to put little like morale patches. So you could make a medical kit, supplies, and kind of label these, which I also think is really cool. And then you end up with that mesh pocket in the middle to allow you to see the contents on the inside. Now, briefly going to the outside of this same cover, you can see that you also have that morale field on top in a simple zippered compartment here. That's flat and easy. Again, you could put some very simple supplies in here. I would probably actually take my targets and fold them up and slide them in here, because that is something that I do fairly often, and my targets sometimes are a little bit larger and I need to fold them anyway. So if you're planning ahead and paying attention, it's actually real easy just to get targets in here, fold them up, nice and easy. That is probably exactly what I'll do. Rotating the bag to the front. Now, a couple of different things here. Nice, large zippered compartment. Tons of subdivided capability here. So little stretchy pockets in a couple of different locations. These are actually stitched for more like admin. So pens, markers, tools, things like that. Absolutely awesome in this nice large field. That's really going to allow me to take a toolkit and get that fully laid out, or you could get magazine pouches and lay those magazine pouches here. Also put magazines in through these sections, depending on what you're doing. Certainly these slip pockets here, and you can see the way that that's stitched. It's actually large enough to do so. So this part of the bag is absolutely amazing. And then you have to imagine what you're going to do is once you put the bag down and present it down at the range, well, at this point, this part of the exterior flap would be down on the working surface and presenting itself to you. Again, nice large zippered pocket here. You can get in here. I would also probably consider things like gloves, simple hearing protection, some simple tools, things like that. That's easy. And then a couple of, again, just morale fields or Velcro fields where you could put patches and label your gear. This here is going to be more of a Velcro pocket, so as we open this up, not quite as easy or convenient. However, it is pretty simple, and what I like on these are actually kind of like oil resistant, so you can see here, these are lined. So if you have solvents, cleaners, anything like that that may potentially get on your gear, that's fully segregated from everything else, and gives you just a little bit of resistance to spills, chemicals, things like that. So that's actually really cool. Now that's only the case for the one on the left hand side, but on the right hand side here you can see this is more of a standard nylon pocket. The exterior flaps here, again, Velcro enclosure, pretty straightforward. That is the case on both sides, and as you look, these are gusseted to expand and really allow you to get some gear on the outside of the bag. And that's very advantageous, where if these weren't gusseted and couldn't expand, you'd be very limited to what could fit in here, and they'd try to bulge into the bag, and that creates competition of space. The fact that these are gusseted and allows them to push to the outside means that the gear is not going to push towards the inside of the bag and really does give you added volume. Rotating now all the way to the back of the bag, you can see here where the grab handle comes over as we pull this out. Again, just another large, thin pocket. Now, this is, again, going to be a little bit limited. You could definitely put larger targets. You could probably even carry steel in here. If you're careful, it will get heavy quick. So you definitely want to be a little bit careful, but anything thin and easy that could slide right down in here, no problem. As we rotate around to the sides of the bag, each side does have some fantastic pockets, which here you can see, nice mesh pocket, and then a simple panel. Now, in my opinion, this would have been about the perfect place to put some Velcro, where you could then stack some magazines in here real easy, and it's about the appropriate depth. as you look at how deep this is, this would have been a great place for that Velcro right here. In my opinion, I feel like that's a miss. Although, aha, they make up for it on the other side, where at this point you can see no external mesh. However, you do get that Velcro, and that will now allow me to stack in magazines. So even though they didn't get it on one side, they did get it on the other. So maybe it does leave you with a little bit of flexibility and versatility. The bottom of the bag is outfit with some nice rubber feet. So you can see this should help to keep the bag off of the ground, present itself well, and then just keep grease, grime, all that stuff that you have around the range, kind of help to keep the bag off of the surface. Now I can say I've been to plenty of ranges where it's wood tables, concrete floors. So again, having the ability to hold the bag off of those surfaces, definitely advantageous. Couple last things to note on the bottom. You can see there are some lashing points. So little tags and lashing points in strategic locations. It would definitely be really great to have a little bit of tripod management in a bag like this, especially for me where I happen to be filming a lot of times. Of course, that's a very specialized thing, filming at the range. However, a lot of people do have tripods, more specifically tripods for optics or tripods for rifles, and having the ability to actually manage that with the bag would go a long way. Simple grab handle over the top, nice fold over design and reinforced, and then your shoulder strap, which has some adjustability. So if you want to change the overall length of the strap, very easy to do so. You can leverage this system here. Very well padded, nice and thick, excellent pads, or you could remove it altogether. So excellent Duraflex buckles, awesome hardware, very nicely done. And that's one thing I can say about Helikon-Tex. Their choice of materials, their choice of zippers and hardware, always second to none. They do a fantastic job with their design. But at this point, it's time for me to get my gear in this bag. And so now with the bag built out, I'm going to go through the contents real quick. Now this certainly is not perfect, but it's enough to get me started. And I've pretty much filled out the entire bag with the essentials. Now first off, as I mentioned, in the back, I have myself just a spare target. Sometimes I just forget to bring a target. I know that sounds dumb, but you know, that would be just a ridiculous way not to continue on with your day. And just to point out that Helikon-Tex does have some fantastic targets. I've been using these. You've seen them on my channel actually time and time again. Nice large targets, again, available from Helikon-Tex. And so just keeping one in here. That way, worst case scenario, if I forget to bring one, well, it's in there. On the inside, top flap. Now this isn't, again, perfect. I would love these pouches to be just a little bit larger. And in fact, I'd go as far as to say, I'd rather have one pouch that's maybe the mesh, and then a double pouch here, which would accommodate the hearing protection. I was not able to get my earmuffs in here. This would be a perfect place for it. But rather, instead, on this side, I have a pair of gloves, which sometimes I wear them, but I don't usually anyway. What I do find is a lot of times when I run drills, I actually forget to bring a mag pouch. So I've taken a couple of them and slid them in here. That way I can't accidentally forget. They're always with me. On this side, clips for targets. Again, something else that I forget regularly. These are used for the infinity targets that come from Infinite Defense. I always forget to bring the clips. Now they're here with me every time. Now something on the outside of the bag, very simple. Right to my book. I keep all the notes on my drills and what I'm doing, notes while I'm at the range, and things I need to know to cover products on my channel. And as we flip this open, on this side I will have a dedicated med kit. I have started doing some research. I'm going to get a dedicated med kit and keep that right here. I think that's going to be about perfect. We always have problems with staplers when we're at the range, so fully ready to go. I just loaded it up. It is full. That is awesome. Now on this side, I have my spotting scope, very easy. My pistol pouch, so you know, sometimes I don't necessarily carry my handgun on me. when I go to the range. Sometimes I do, it just depends. Plenty of magazine storage here. Can put my pistol in here, or if I am carrying one and want to have a second one with me, that will work out well. I'm in fact just going to leave that open because this can pretty much stay like this. My hearing protection now right down into the side. Then I have a rangefinder. So very simple, but laser rangefinder down here. And then the next piece over here, well, more hearing protection. Regular, just earplugs. And then I have my electronic Bluetooth hearing protection. So I have like a nice little variety here. It's very simple. And in fact, I intend on beyond that, stuffing this pouch here with just some of the foam ones so that I have a little variety. Or if somebody needs a pair, I have them with me. And just to point out that these Velcro pouches here are also Helikon-Tex products. So fitting nicely inside, they Velcro right to the side of the bag. Now, of course, on the inside, I can also keep my ammo, which should work out well. Now, on the outside of the bag, right away, and I'm not going to pull these out, but I have my badges. So this will get me into the range, and I have my guest passes and everything right on the front. So when I pull up in my truck, all I need to do is flip that open, rip my badge out, get myself into the club, and we're moving. This side right now, empty. I'm going to dump my keys in my wallet, get them out of my pocket, so while I'm doing my range sessions, it's right there and easy to get to. As I open up this pocket here, this is all of my tools. So you can see here, I've kind of laid this out. Now, this is a kind of heavy section, but it does work. I have all of my bits, so this is my large kit. And then I have my smaller kit, which is the precision stuff. This allows me to make small adjustments to optics. The larger kit allowing me to make actual like field corrections to the firearms, and then even mounting heavier duty things like scope rings and whatnot. Now that's all well and good, but you kind of need to torque things. So down here, I've included my torque wrench, a Wheeler torque wrench, very simple. And that's all I really have on this section for now, but believe me, that is heavy enough. It has enough stuff in there, and it's kind of weighed down just a little bit. Now I need to be maybe subtly careful where I kind of get these things positioned the right way so that the bag will close and close easy, and I found that this sits kind of nice right down in here. Now here, this is a Mantis. This is the X10 Elite training tool. I do like to go to this. It's good to have it here. I will probably actually take my spare cell phone, which connects to this, and I don't use my main cell phone, but I have a spare. That will drop down right here in the bag. So when I go to the range, spare cell phone and the Mantis. So that's pretty much all I have in here, but it does keep it nice and organized. Again, Helikon-Tex pouches and Velcro capable to mount these up. Now up in the top here, nothing yet. I just have this in here, little, spare area, whereas this kit grows, I can decide what I'm going to do. This might not stay in here. I'm not really too sure yet, but it fit real nice, and I just wanted to be able to demonstrate that you can get a few different size pouches in here. Two multi-tools from the standpoint that sometimes you need a dual set of pliers. So these actually I intend on using as pliers more so than for the bits. Couple of markers, a simple punch, which works out for my ability to drift out little pins and things for my fire control units on my SIGs, and then a pen. So very simple little admin section there. This is going to be great. I decided that this little case was going to be about perfect, where little pencil sharpener because I have a pencil with me, my 9mm little bore laser, simple little screwdriver just for the sake of it, a small little knife. But what I'm also going to do is put a couple of sets of staples in here, so I have spare staples with me, and that fit nice and flat right down in this little pouch. Now for those bits that I showed you, I need a driver. So this here is the handle for that little Weehawk bit driver, so that's going to work out just well. So that is the front of the bag. On the left-hand side, this is very basic. I have my glasses, so my Magna Lens kit. If you haven't seen these, I highly recommend checking out Magna Lens. They do an amazing job, and I have a full array of high-quality, professional-grade, just a full array of lenses, different shooting conditions, lighting conditions, absolutely fantastic, and that fits wonderfully on the side. And for now, this side is empty. And the reason being, this can be fully fit out with magazines depending on my range session. So leaving this free and clear and empty and available for what I need, that will go a long way. So with that, guys, this is the Rangemaster bag from Helikon-Tex, fully fit out, ready to go. I am pumped. This thing is beautiful, wonderful construction, holds everything wonderfully. Now, if I could make a couple of suggestions, as I mentioned early on, having a little bit of management for the tripod would have gone a long way. I don't have that here. I could probably make it work. If this had a second loop, so you can see there's a loop here. If they just had a second loop, I could actually put a strap and put that right here. It would be great. So this should have some management right on the top for a tripod. Again, could I hold it with the loops and carry it in here? Sure, but I'd love to secure that on here. Next, and really my only other critique, I would have really liked to get my hearing protection right in the top, because you have to imagine you're rolling up to the range. People could already be firing, and what I really want to do is have my zippers oriented here, pull this open, pull it up, grab my hearing protection, which would literally be right in the middle or right on the side, and just have that sitting right there so I can grab onto it and go. Instead, I need to open the bag and pull them out. It's not really quite as opportune. So all in all, not a big deal, just my suggestions. There's no doubt that this Rangemaster bag is fantastic. And so again, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Helikon-Tex who did provide this for review. Look in the description box below where you can find all of the relevant links for your own Helikon-Tex products. Thank you guys for following along. Take care now. I'll see you soon.